I have to press something.
Welcome, everyone. I hope everybody's doing great today. I am
Candy Lamar. I work with Camp Quality, and I am your host today, which just simply means I'm going to introduce Beth. So don't expect too much from me today. We also have Connie Glover with us. She works with Camp Quality Texas, and she is our tech person today. So hopefully we don't have any tech issues, but if we do, Connie will work to resolve those. So with that said, again, welcome. We're so excited to have you guys here today. I'm going to read a quick little bio on Beth and then let her get started to the real meat of this presentation this morning. Beth Monick is currently the Assistant Executive Director for Beads of Courage, and she's worked at Beads of Courage since 2015. She came to Beads of Courage after working 9 years as a certified child life specialist and interim manager of Child Life Volunteer Services Family Resource Center at Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh. She has worked in the areas of same-day surgery, pediatric oncology, specific to infant, toddler, and preschool age brain tumor radiation, pediatric surgery, cardiac acute and intensive care, and Dr. Bill Niles' cardiac camp for kids. Beth has served as Beads of Courage ambassador for cardiac for 6 years. So she's got lots of accolades, and we're so thrilled to have her joining us today. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Beth.
Thank you, Candy. And thank you, Connie. Hopefully we don't need your help today. All right, so I have to do all my things to share my screen and share my presentation with all of you. So give me just 1 second. Oops. Okay, so that took me all of 2021 to learn how to do. But thank you everyone for coming to my session, and special thank you to Jennifer and Dawn at COCA and everybody who's making this possible for inviting me to speak today. Hopefully you can hear me. And there we go. So like Candy said, my name is Beth Monick. I'm the Assistant Executive Director for Beads of Courage, and I'm featured there in the middle. Accompanying me are one of our 3 pediatric nurses, Jean Griven, and 4 child life specialists who are on our 3 child life specialists on our program team. So together we create, implement, support the Beads of Courage programs that we provide to kids and families coping with serious illness, their families, and the clinicians who care for them. So you already heard my background. I usually introduce myself here. So thank you for that warm welcome. Having been a child life specialist for about 16 years now, I was reflecting on that when I was walking my dog this morning. I'm really proud to be where I am and to have all of the experiences I've had working in the hospital, at a serious illness camp for heart conditions, come together to speak to you today about these programs I truly care about. I'm excited to speak to all of you and extend our mission at Beads of Courage to everyone who experiences your oncology camps. So this is a little bit about what I'd like to talk about today. You know, who is Beads of Courage? Perhaps you've heard of us, perhaps your campers have some Beads of Courage, but why beads? We are an evidence-based practice. There's theory that guide all of the programs that we've created. Discussing, you know, what are some of those goals you might have for your campers, the family, and the staff that you work with. I'd like to introduce some of our programs to you. Perhaps some of them fit into some of your camp goals. And at the very end, I'd like to also share with you an opportunity to have your own experience with Beads of Courage, and that's through our DREAM program. So perhaps some of you have requested the materials. I guess maybe you can see me. But if you don't have them, that's okay too. If you have a piece of paper, a pen, pencil, any drawing materials around, we can get those, you know, at the end of the presentation here, and you can still participate in our experience. I also have the form. There's all these forms that you can like click on for my presentation. And so one of them is if you'd like to have this sample of our DREAM program, then you can request that from me and we'd be happy to send them to you after the presentation today. And then I'd like to leave some time at the end for discussion or questions. I can't see the chat. I can't see you. That is the downfall of virtual presentation. It's actually the part I miss the most, seeing everybody I'm talking to. But at the end, I'd like to take some time to review any questions you have in the chat or unmute if we're in that gallery view so we can ask some questions and talk about things together. You're certainly welcome to email me. And then I'm also going to be, I guess, manning our exhibit booth here. So I'll do my best to try to log in at different times over the course of the conference to answer any questions. So Beads of Courage is a nonprofit organization that was founded in 2005 and its headquarters is in Tucson, Arizona, with a mission to provide innovative arts and medicine programs for children and teens coping with serious illness, their families, and the clinicians who care for them. Our programs, all of them, use beads as visible and tangible art forms. We know that every time a bead is given, courage is honored, suffering is alleviated, resilience is strengthened, and the experience of human caring is affirmed. I want you to meet Micah. Micah's mom says he was 7 years old and had a neuroblastoma. Micah was diagnosed at 1 and fought for 6 years. Beads of Courage has provided Micah, as well as his siblings, with such pride in the journey he has taken. As a mother, it gives me a great representation to the battle that he fought. Now that Micah is in hospice and there are no treatments remaining, this gives us all a reminder of the amazing accomplishments Micah has completed. Our honored Beads of Courage member, Micah, died in 2016 and inspired a country song called Beads of Courage by Derek Anthony. From what first started with a program to help children coping with cancer tell their stories of courage, our programs have now evolved into 5 various flagship programs and several additional unique programs worldwide. So why beads? Why is this lady talking to me about these tiny perforated objects? Beads are the oldest art form known to man, and they've been valued by humans for over 100,000 years. They've been valued as currency. They've been used as gold, fur, spices, cloth, just as valuable, and traded for them. Trade values of beads vary depending on the sizes and shapes. You'll see a photo there in the corner of the slides of some of these ancient beads that were so valuable. They also supported and honored some of the most significant people of the society at the time. Wealthy people, certain beads are reserved for royalty. Some may demonstrate a certain rank or military position or job status. So today we use the art form of beads in our programs to honor the most significant people in our society, which are the kids and families that we support coping with cancer and serious illness, and the people who care for them. We also know that our Beads of Courage programs beautifully embrace 3 very human experiences. We believe in objects that hold meaning. So I invite you to think of an object that you have that holds meaning to you. It's very hard for me to get rid of objects. I need to because I live in a small house, but it's hard because so many things hold an experience that has shaped me or made me into the individual who I am, or hold a special memory for me. And so one object I always talk about when I give presentations is my wedding ring, or tiny trinkets that even my daughter's made for me, and she gave them to me to show that she loves me. Number 2, we love to give and receive gifts. Gifts carry our intention and allow people to feel better cared for. It's an example of active caring, that we have a reverence for a person's life and how special they are to us. And that exchange contributes to that human connectedness and solidarity, which strengthens that therapeutic alliance we want to have when we're supporting people. We also have a need to tell our story, right? So if you have a bad day, you want to vent, I remember working in the hospital, we'd run into this little closet and like vent to our staff, our staff and colleagues. You have a need to get it out and tell someone. You have a good day too, you want to celebrate it. I mean, now we have social media, so people are always posting the good, the bad, and sometimes the ugly on social media, but we have a need to tell that story. When we tell our story, we feel less alone and less isolated, which strengthens that human connectedness and that feeling of, hey, you know what? I don't feel so all alone anymore. It's necessary for sustaining the human spirit. Beads become a comfortable, easier way to share stories versus looking someone in the eye and just talking. They're a visual and tangible language that recognizes challenges, but also refocuses the stories on courage displayed and accomplishments that are honored and recognized. So Beads of Courage came about. Our executive director, Jean Gribben, she is here with us today at the conference. She's also the founder and is an oncology nurse. She worked at the bedside in pediatrics and saw courage every day. We see that courage when we work with these kids and families who are coping with so much. But how do we celebrate that? How do we acknowledge it? How do they truly know that despite all of the challenges that they're facing, there's courage alongside what they're doing? She used studies to see that people need to minimize the adjustment difficulties related to treatment, and they have a need to visually acknowledge the courage displayed during treatment journeys, that something tangible is needed so a child can use it to tell about their experience during treatment and after. Not really having those tools as a nurse there to be able to do those things. I mean, stickers are available, but they're not long-term, they get stuck on things they're not supposed to. And I know for myself, my daughter will get stickers and she loves them in the moment, but it's not a keepsake that she has for a long time. Reading the research and knowing this, it happened to be that the way that courage could be honored is through beads. Historically, they're important to us as humans. They're small, they're tangible, they're visual. It's a beautiful art form to honor somebody and represent their courage. So the first flagship program was created in 2003 at Phoenix Children's Hospital in the oncology area. The theories that help to develop the Beads of Courage program are resilience, suffering, narration, arts and medicine, and the transpersonal caring healing practice model by Dr. Jean Watson. So I have a few slides here that go into more detail about the theories that guide our programs. And I'll also discuss the anticipated outcomes and goals of the programs. Regarding resilience, Beads of Courage strengthens resilience by validating challenges and difficult experiences, but also redirecting thoughts to highlight that strength and courage are also present. When people are suffering, they naturally focus on the negative. We need help seeing any good that is also happening in those same moments, like courage and strength, giving people hope and something to feel good about. Beads of Courage also help increase engagement coping strategies. So when we're under stress, we fight, flight, or freeze. We don't want to talk about it. We want to deny it's happening. We cannot listen. We cannot process because we're in our autonomic response for survival. But through the use of Beads of Courage programs, we acknowledge where we are and begin to see that not all bad things are happening in these moments. Good things are there too. Strength and courage are present, and people are coming together to show support. People don't always recognize this, but with Beads of Courage, we can see and hold these moments. I used to tell kids, I'm going to prove it to you. I know that you're so scared right now, and I know that some really sad things are happening. I said, but I don't think you see what I see. I said, I see so much bravery and courage in you, and I'm going to prove it to you. And I'm going to give you a bead for each time I see that strength or that courage in you. People begin talking about their care and engage with those caring for them. Beads of Courage encourage these difficult conversations while focusing on strength, honoring courage, and working on and celebrating positive coping strategies. Resilience is strengthened by an increase in derived meaning when the child and family actively reflect on each milestone and moment of courage through their collection of beads over time. And lastly, that they also have an increased perceived social support. That courage is recognized by the people in their community, their family, caregivers, and their peers. People say to us, our Beads of Courage members and parents will say, it's much easier to convey your stories and what you're going through with these tangible visual beads. And we see kids all the time who want to stand up like Vivian and show their Beads of Courage to their classmates. They're proud to tell their stories. Suffering is a state of severe distress associated with the events that threaten the wholeness of a person. So all of it, the physical, psychological, social, and spiritual. This distress is called by intensive treatment for illness or really any extreme challenge that a person is facing. There's loss of meaning and purpose while interpreting symptoms and the illness experience. The feeling of alienation and isolation is strong. When someone's taken away from their normal, physically isolated because you're immunocompromised or afraid to catch the germs out there, I have a feeling we all have had a little taste of this throughout the pandemic. People suffering have a need for language or symbols that serve to interpret their experience and give voice to the sufferer. They need to authentically connect with others. We also know there's guidelines in healthcare to use narration, which allows for learning about the entire person and the person they're caring for versus just the facts in the medical record. People's stories hold a wealth of information to say exactly who they are and what they're going through and allow people to care for that entire whole person. And Beads of Courage are arts and medicine. We know that the arts can serve as a therapeutic and powerful healing tool. Beads of Courage are art forms that are infused with hope, optimism, pride. They're a visual and tangible reminder of the positive amidst the challenges. And we know what art and medicine benefits are: physical, mental, emotional recovery, reduction in anxiety, decreased perception of pain or discomfort, the ability to regain some control when things just feel out of control. Stress and loneliness are reduced by facilitating communication and having an opportunity for self-expression. Beads of Courage is also caring science. Caring science theory is infused into our Beads of Courage program. Awareness is key to our connection with others, and a sacred space is created each time beads are exchanged between a caring person and a recipient. This caring space creates a caring intention with an authentic presence in that very moment. We show our commitment and reverence for the person. This is caring versus curative. We're there for the whole person versus just the physical. We seek intentional caring for healing purposes and wholeness. Giving of beads is an embodied act of caring that makes a difference. It leaves the recipient feeling cared for. When another person honors and recognizes that courageous moment, or just that moment of the two of them together, it gives meaning to that experience. We have beads in our programs that are donated to us by artists of the International Society of Glass Bead Makers. They donate these beads to us as a program partner, and they're beautiful, one-of-a-kind items, just like those they honor. Often they're meant for honoring a colleague, a child we've cared for, reflecting our hope for the future, or telling a story about somebody we love. So with all that said, with the theories that guide our programs, the goals of the Beads of Courage programs are to use beads as visual and tangible art forms so that every time a bead is given, courage is honored, suffering is alleviated, resilience is strengthened, and the experience of human caring is affirmed. Another goal is to strengthen the supportive relationship among the teen or child and the family and staff. And so we often have people who are excited about Beads of Courage programs because it's for the kids and it's for the families. And I can think of the perfect person that I could use this program with. And the secondary goal, which is just as important, is that it also is there for you as the staff person, as the clinician, as that person who wants to provide the support to the child and the teen. It makes you feel good to know that you have a way to support some of the, emotions that they're going through and to strengthen that relationship that you'd like to have. So I have some programs that I wanted to go over for you because perhaps you have goals within your camp that these experiences, these Beads of Courage programs could help to achieve your goals. All of our programs are found on our website under the program tab, and then they're listed kind of like a drop-down menu of programs to see. So originally, like I said, the very first program we had was our flagship program in oncology, which now extends to NICU experiences, cardiac, pretty much any chronic condition, burn recovery. And then we're also expanding into rehab centers and ICUs. All of our programs have been developed from a request from the frontline interdisciplinary staff that we work with in our member hospitals. And they are usually the people who are giving out the Beads of Courage or implementing the program with kids and families. And so we're really excited to talk with community partners such as oncology camps to see how is it that Beads of Courage and the goals we have for our programs in your camp align to have you also provide some of these programs. I also have a handout. I messed up. I downloaded too many, so I don't know if they deleted some yet, but you'll see some duplicates in my speaker profile and also for this presentation. So the handouts for this presentation are there. And then also there's a document that says Beads of Courage for camp and opportunities, because they might not all fit for your camp, but I just wanted, a nice list there of the various resources that we might have that could fit for you. So that last slide had programs for siblings. It had a program to support staff resilience. And then we have these programs that could really be for anyone, depending on what your goals are. So our Beads Strong, we have a program that's specifically to support people when they're grieving somebody they love, which is our Strand for Strength, and then Dream, which we'll be experiencing today in my presentation. So the first program is the flagship program, which, like I said, maybe you're aware of, or maybe your campers have even brought their Beads of Courage to camp. And this is a program where a child who is coping with a serious illness will receive their first name in beads. And each one of those beads on Jordan's bead strand there represents a moment of courage throughout her treatment journey. And Jordan's mom shared with us, we believe in beads because it's a symbol of the courage and strength it takes to overcome all of the obstacles while battling childhood cancer. We have over 180 Beads of Courage member hospitals in the United States. So perhaps there's one in your city or near your camp that kids can get their Beads of Courage from. But if not, we do have a Beads in the Mail program. So if kids don't have a hospital near them that give out Beads of Courage, they can contact us and we can let them know about how they can get beads in the mail. Perhaps you have a goal to provide emotionally supportive and intentional programming to siblings. If so, then you might be interested in our sibling program. Maximilian and Madeline's mom share that the Beads of Courage sibling program helps our oldest feel included. And having a sibling with CHD can be scary sometimes. Madeline's beads are a reminder that she is strong too. We're so grateful for a partnership with the Scarcelli Family Foundation as our national sponsor to our sibling program. And our child life specialist, Lindsay Patton, who leads our sibling program, is going to be given sibling caregiver support sessions, and she has been in October as well. So if you know of any siblings or parents who might be interested, the registration deadline is November 28th. This link is clickable in the PDF handouts. We also have been posting this opportunity on our social media. So if you wanted to get the words out, parents can attend a support session and then have the opportunity to get our sibling program for free after attending that session. Because of the generosity of the Scarcelli Family Foundation sponsorship. Perhaps you have clinical staff at camp or clinical staff that come to camp who have a goal to provide emotionally supportive and attentional activities to campers, or have AYA campers, counselors, or junior counselors who could benefit from learning mindfulness skills through an art workshop, which also becomes a great bonding experience for those staff together. Or a need to support bereavement and are looking for activities that could help participants find strength as they move through grief. This is our Beads of Courage Beads Strong program, which encourages anyone to pause, breathe, and learn about mindfulness as an important life skill. The Beads of Courage Beads Strong program was created to provide an experience in mindfulness, which you probably know is the ability to calmly focus, be aware, and accept one's own thoughts and feelings. We have 12 unique Bead Strong activities. You can see their unique beads that go with each activity there in the middle of the screen that use several different tools for mindfulness, such as mantras, art, breath work, and beads. Each Bead Strong session begins with breath work, breathing being taught. Those techniques are very useful in situations to calm the mind, both with physiological and emotional benefits. The mantras are short phrases or words that one can say to help calm the mind and stay positive amidst the challenges and the struggles, and are often used with the breath work. And so, for example, the Bead Strong that we have here is peace, ride the wave. And so that mantra is ride the wave as you're doing the art activity and doing the breathing exercises. We know that art provides for self-expression when facilitated, can help an individual process and reflect on life experiences in a meaningful way. Each of our activities also have literary art. You can't really read it, but when you open the activity on the bottom here, it's like an invitation to support yourself. And you read the story, and then there's a prompt. And that whole area where the markers are is blank until the participant fills it up with their own self-reflections and self-expressions based on the prompt for the activity. And then they also receive a bead that goes with the mantra and the activity theme and some materials to string their bead on a back. Those are backpack clips there. Our skilled program team is made up of certified child life specialists, and over the course of 2021, we've successfully facilitated several of these workshops virtually. We'd be happy to discuss with you how child life or another skilled staff person at your camp might implement this Bead Strong workshop, whether it's virtual or maybe we're getting around to some in-person next year. We also have Beads of Courage for staff. So if you have clinical staff or staff studying to be clinicians at camp, these are a way to provide emotionally supportive and intentional moments of mindfulness for themselves. And it's set up to be 12 mindful moments. So it could be, over the course of a year or 12 sessions, spaced apart, however you feel appropriate. Created to provide a consistent practice of personal reflection and rejuvenation in a high-paced, high-tech, emotionally challenging world. We guide this program through the theories of Thich Nhat Hanh, Kabat-Zinn, and Dr. Jean Watson to provide a moment of mindful practice that can lead to enhanced awareness, clarity, understanding, peace, positive purpose, collaboration, and healing. Each one of the bead cards there also contains poetry by David Sadker, who is a facilitator from the Center of Courage and Renewal. We also have Beads of Courage for Bereavement, and one of those programs that we have is called Strand for Strength and Remembrance. It was created for those who are coping the death of a loved one and is intended to be facilitated by a person trained in supporting grief and bereavement to help find strength as they move through their grief process. So during this symbolic and creative arts program, participants are encouraged to express their memories, fear, courage, and hope for the future, while honoring family and self using symbolic beads that become metaphors of remembrance. The bead strand created during the session is meant to be kept by the participant and serves as a visual and tangible symbol for reflection on the legacy and love for the person they're grieving, and also represents their strength throughout their bereavement journey. I've done Strand for Strength and Remembrance with children as young as, I would say, about 5 years old. And it's really worked out well, whether it's the family unit or the kids around the same ages, but then they receive that bead strand there, and each one of those is a symbol of their strength, their courage as they grieve their loved one, or perhaps it represents a story that's special to them about their loved one. We've also been able to implement these virtually. We think they'd be a wonderful complement to an existing bereavement support program that you might have, or maybe you're looking for something new. It could be during groups or remembrance ceremonies, one-on-one with a family or an individual. And we have a live virtual session coming up at the end of the month. And so we have posts on our Facebook and Instagram for registration information, and that'll be facilitated by the child life specialists on our program team. Throughout the partnership through our partnership with borosilicate glass artists, we are able to provide this really cool new experience for AYAs. So if you have AYA campers or counselors and like to offer a Beads of Courage experience to them, we would love to provide it. And we also would like to ask for their help. I can't explain it any better than Angeline, who is a Beads of Courage member and also a past employee of Beads of Courage. So I wanted to give a moment for her to explain to you our power pendant experience. We originally launched this opportunity at CancerCon last year. Power pendants are handmade, one-of-a-kind wearable art that are meant to serve as an object to focus one's thoughts and spark an inner strength that speaks to you from the heart. So I'll let Anjali.
Hi, my name is Angeline, and I am super excited to introduce to you the Power Pendant Project. So I am an osteosarcoma cancer survivor, and I know how difficult treatment can be, especially as a young adult. And so that's why I thought of this project called the Power Pendant. And power pendants are these beautiful glass beads. This is mine. I chose this one because it looks like a dragon's eye or like an animal eye, which reminds me to be fierce and strong. And so that spoke to me, so I picked it. So these are handmade by glass artists, and the hope is to distribute them to young adults coping with cancer. We want every young adult coping with cancer to feel empowered and to feel strong with their diagnosis and even afterwards in their survivorship. So these are a little tool for that. So if you want to get involved, you will actually be able to pick your very own power pendant yourself. So fill out the survey. Let us know what helps you when you are feeling down or you are experiencing extreme worry, because your words of encouragement are actually going to be put into a booklet that will be distributed to other young adults with cancer or coping with cancer and we hope to encourage everyone and kind of feel like this big community with shared experience. And we will all have our little power pendants to remind us of our resilience and our strength. So we hope.
Okay, so I hear someone's microphone. I can't see who it is, but if it could be muted. Thank you. Hopefully you can still hear me. Our last program that is something that we'll experience today together is our dream program. Asking you the question, do you have a goal to provide emotionally supportive and intentional art activities for campers in person or virtual? Do you have a need to support counselors or junior counselors in training that are looking to gain experience with easy to use psychosocial and emotional support activities? If so, then we invite you to dream with Courage Tiger. So Courage Tiger is Beads of Courage mascot. And this is a new program that we developed over the course of the pandemic to really get the Beads of Courage experience out to people who don't have a clinician nearby, because we're separated and we're not allowed to go to the hospitals and work with the support people that we're used to working with. And we're all trying to figure out Zoom and other methods to meet virtually. And so we created Dream, and we feel like it's a fun, easy activity to do that still allows people to express creativity, have a moment of self-reflection, feel connected to other people who are facilitating it with them, or maybe in a group virtual setting, to receive the gift of a bead and its carrying intention, because that's the Beads of Courage way, learn fun facts, and experience meaningful poetry. So we do believe in literary art as well, and the benefits of poetry in our Dream program. And maybe some of you have heard of Dream before. We've sent some emails to the COCA camps. I've had an education session last August to talk about some of our programs. And what we're really excited about through our partnership with COCA and also Northwestern Mutual, COCA and Beads of Courage are partners in the Childhood Cancer Partnership Program that Northwestern Mutual supports. And so we had all been connected and are able to offer our Dream activity featuring our space shuttle bead to 1,000 campers. And so I have had some camps reach out to us. We've total supported 668 camper requests, and we have a total of 1,000. So we actually still have some available. And what you would receive is this Dream activity. It's a small, what are these, 6x6 square, and it opens up, and you'll see on the inside the black and white story, and then some art directive prompts to complete at the bottom. And it also comes with our space shuttle bead that carries a carrying intention, and then some beads to make a bracelet out of the special bead that you receive during the session. So to get this, you can contact me. And then in the documents that we were able to download for the presentation, one of them says on there, hey, are you interested in space shuttle? So it goes over all this information, the Dream activity space shuttle. And there's also a link at that document where you could fill out your request form to ask for these for your camp. Here's some of the partners that we've partnered with, some of the camps I've been learning from. It's been so exciting this past year to learn more about camps and some of the wonderful things that you guys are doing and what's the same and what's different, and just make that connection and get Beads of Courage out there to, you know, the kids that are coming to your camps. Feedback is still needed on this new program, and I'm actively collecting it. I just wanted to share a few words with you about what people are currently saying when they've offered the Beads of Courage Dream activities to their camp. When they're asked, you know, what did you enjoy about this camp? This is a virtual camp in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. By the way, that's where I'm located. I work for Beads of Courage remotely. A lot of my colleagues are back in Tucson, Arizona. But what did you enjoy about camp? Connecting with other kids touched by cancer, the Beads of Courage, and all of the activities and tools that help them cope with challenging times. They loved the Beads of Courage activity. This was very cool to hear. A mom reported that her girls were keeping their bead strands next to their beds and rubbing their beads at night or whenever they need that reminder of their courage. So demonstrating they're clearly valuable to the kids. This was also a really cool thing to hear. So this camp was set up 4 days, and Beads of Courage was at the end of every day. And they did Bead Strong for the first 3 days. So did breathing exercise and talk about mindfulness. And on the 4th day, we did Dream. The kids came, and I was the guest speaker that day to facilitate Dream with the students that were learning. And they told me what mindfulness was in their own words, that it's the opportunity for their brain to just peace out or to pause and not think about anything else. And then what I was ready to do is sneak a breathing technique in there for Dream. It's not necessary, but as a child life specialist, why not, to start the session off? They were teaching me. So after the 3 days of learning breathing techniques at Bead Strong, they were excited to share with me what they've learned. And so we all practiced their various breathing techniques that they learned over those 3 days, or were excited enough to tell us about some that they've learned from other support people in their lives. It was pretty cool. We had a school age camp. It was a heart camp, and the child life specialist there felt that it was a great activity to do in the small group setting. Not being able to do those small groups in the hospital, camp was the perfect place. They incorporated mindfulness in a non-stressful situation to equip the campers with those skills when they are in stressful medical situations. And so they had that experience, but also an opportunity for creative expression in that moment to pause and relax. And these are a few photos that were shared with us from the Candlelighters Family Camp. We had one of our child life specialist colleagues that's over at Diamond Children's go over. She actually is a part of the camp anyway, but she said she'd be happy to facilitate the Dream program there at camp. So she said that everybody really appreciated it and they had a good time, and they were all willing to share their pictures with us to give us some of that feedback. All right, so now it's time for our Dream experience. If you don't have materials, like I said, that's okay. If you can just grab something to color on with a pen or a pencil, maybe you have markers or crayons with you. Participate as best you can. Again, you can also request this sample, this Courage sample. We're gonna leave that request link open throughout the duration of this conference, and that is one of the downloads as well. It'll say, this is the request for the Courage Dream. So I'm going to leave this screen up. If you do have your materials, that's wonderful. We're going to start off with a breathing exercise though, because that's just, I don't know, it's what, 1:30 my time. I feel like that's always a great time of the day to pause and take care of yourself. Or maybe it's a great way to start off your morning if you're coming to us from the West Coast. So just, find yourself in a comfortable position where you're sitting. Maybe move around a little bit just to get your head and neck and spine aligned. Try to feel a little relaxed, uncross your legs. Let your hands rest quietly in your lap or by your sides. You can close your eyes or relax your eyes if you want. I offer closing eyes as an option. I've also heard you can go dark on Zoom if you don't already have your camera off. Now is the time to give yourself that privacy that you might like to have. As your body settles and your eyes close, bring your awareness to your breathing. Notice your breath coming in and your breath going out. Follow the breath with your awareness. Follow the breath all the way in and follow the breath all the way out. Don't try to change it in any way. Just be. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathing in, feel the breath as it passes through your nose. Breathing out, feel the breath as it leaves your nostrils. Keeping your awareness lightly and gently on your breath, breathing mindfully in this present moment. So you can continue practicing those breaths, just breathing in and breathing out. If thoughts come in, because they will, acknowledge them without judgment and let them go. Let them drift away like clouds floating across the sky, and bring your awareness back to your breath, back to your breathing, back to this present moment. Breathing in and breathing out. Each time your attention moves away from your breath, distracted by something you're thinking of or something that's bothering you, notice it, acknowledge it, and then let it go. Bring your awareness back to your breath. As it comes in and as it goes out, notice your familiar rhythm of your breath. You're connecting the mind and the body in the present moment. The word for breath and the word for spirit in many languages is the same. So bringing your awareness to your breath connects the mind, body, and spirit in the present moment. Continue to mindfully breathe in this way for a few moments, following your breath all the way in. Noticing that slight pause at the turning point as the in-breath becomes the out-breath, and following the breath all the way out. We love that our dream activities include literary art. I want to read a poem to you by James MacDonald while you continue to focus on your breathing. It's on the back of the activity, the dream activity, but you don't have to look at it. Just listen and know that it's there for you whenever you want it. Aim high to the sky in all that you do, because you just never know what it takes to be you. Be strong and be brave, but at the same time, be kind, and always be sure that you're using your mind. Now I'd like to draw your attention back to the screen to begin our dream activity. Okay, so I keep talking about literary art. So I love that a lot of our activities start with a little story. And this story at this dream activity is actually the intention for the dream courage bead that comes with this activity. So you'll see the same on the back of the card. This is your visual and tangible reminder of the sweet dream experience that you're having today. It takes courage to care for ourselves and others, The heart, star, and flower are symbols that serve as reminders to be good to ourselves, to stay inspired, and to take time for the joys we experience through friendship. You are one of a kind and the world needs you. So our prompts are, how are you good to yourself? What are those activities that you enjoy? Share those activities you love in and around the heart. What inspires you and the things you love to do? Share those inspirations in and around the star. And how do you care for your friends? And what do you enjoy about their friendship? Share the joy of friendship in and around the flower. So think about these questions and use colors, doodles, words to express yourself in and around those shapes, or on your blank sheet of paper if you don't have the materials. I want to give you some time to reflect on these thoughts and express yourself on paper. I'm going to play some music, which if you don't want to listen to, you can mute me, maybe put on some of your own music. I have 3 short songs that I'd like to play, and then I'll come back to the group to finish off the presentation. If I can figure out, oops, play the music. If you already are finished, that's okay. You can review the poem or practice some of the breathing, and I'll check back in with you in just a couple minutes. Okay. So I hope you had some time to put some things down to finish up today. Hold on, I think I have to close that. I am hopeful you learned a little bit about why I love Beads of Courage so much and my passion for connecting with people to the best Beads of Courage experience. I'm hopeful that you take this dream experience with you and hold your courage bead close and remind yourself whenever you need it the most to always be good to yourself, to stay inspired because you are one of a kind and the world needs you. To take time to tend to the joys we experience through friendship and know that it takes courage to care for others and ourselves. So I leave you with our caring thoughts. Love, Beads of Courage. I wanted to take off the presentation so that we could come back to the, whatever it's called, this gallery view. I was interested if anyone wanted to share some of their dream experience or, hold up their artwork into the camera. That's typically what we would do if we were hosting the workshop. And I'm happy to review the chat also while people are sharing. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat or we could talk about them here. I think you guys can all read the chat. Does anyone want to share what they did with their courage dream? You can just unmute and talk to us or put it in the chat.
I was gonna say, Beth, I can share. I'm Tyler with the Region 7 Director and Camp Magic Moments. And one of the things that I kind of, as I was thinking about everything, is the reason why I do things is to help people. I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I've noticed that I enjoy more teaching it than I do actually like competing in it. And seeing people grow is a huge thing on that. And I work as a surgical tech, and I love being able to help people get out on whether we're replacing a joint for them so they can walk again, or making them comfortable by removing something that is causing them pain. It was just kind of neat to think, oh, it all comes back to helping people.
Thank you, Tyler. I think that's why you have to care for you, because you are one of the world's helpers. And I appreciate your desire to share with us, because I know it's hard, even in a conference, to share some of those inner thoughts and feelings that you put down on paper. Does anyone else want to share the work they did?
I didn't want to share my work. Thank you, by the way. I do have my courage bead here. Thank you very much. I just want to say that the last part, I do too much. I'm too busy. Morning, I have something else at 3:30, not with this, another thing I have to do. And I needed that 20 minutes of just relaxing. So thank you very, very much for that. I really needed it. And I love Tyler, love to Tyler.
Thanks, Millie. I appreciate that. I was practicing and it actually helped me get ready for the presentation, that moment. And I'll have to say, Dream wasn't created with the need to do that breath work in the beginning. But what we found over the course of this last year is how much people do appreciate and love to have that moment, to just open up the ability to focus on ourselves and reflect and express. And so when we've been facilitating Dream anyway, we have been opening it up with breath work, but it was also meant to be, a fun activity that however you feel the need to open up this activity and get your participants engaged and, and have them do this activity, it certainly could be that way too. We're excited to put this in the hands of other people so we can hear from you too and learn from you. Like, what is it that, makes it a great way for you to facilitate something like Dream? I'm looking at the chat. Someone just appreciated and said, thank you for sharing these ideas and that they're going to contact me. So please do an email. I'd love to have a phone call with you and learn more about your goals and how Beads of Courage might best fit into the things that you're doing. We're always happy to collaborate and work on sponsorship for any of the programs that we have. And I'll be available at the booth. I won't be live this whole entire time, but I don't know if there's a way to leave messages where we can chat back and forth, but I did put some information there in our virtual booth too about the various experiences if you want to take things back to your colleagues who are running the camp with you.
Hey, Beth, I had a question on the program. Do you have Beads of Courage employees in the hospitals giving out the beads, or do you have staff members of the hospitals that have them on them, and when they see something, they give a bead to a kid? I don't think our local hospital here has anything like that, so I'm just a little sure on what.
Yeah, Tyler, that's a great question. Thanks for asking that. So Beads of Courage partners with hospitals and we train the clinicians and it's interdisciplinary staff. So whoever really it is who wants to have that goal of supporting the kids and families, that psychosocial and emotional support. So we see child life, nurses, social work, various therapists. I mean, really whoever in that village, that come together to care. And so we do a training when we send the materials, we do a training much like the beginning of this one, why beads and what are the theories that guide. And then the second piece is how to implement the program. And if a hospital doesn't have the Beads of Courage program, then that's why we have the Beads in the Mail program. And so that's an opportunity for parents and people to request beads direct from us through the mail. So they still have an opportunity to share their stories of courage through beads. Thank you for everybody who's saying such kind things in the chat. I appreciate it. It doesn't matter how long you've presented. It's always nice to get that encouragement from new friends. And I look forward to the future too, and maybe meeting some of you in person. I understand why we're virtual, but I was very much looking forward to meeting new friends in a room together. It's always a little bit more difficult this way. So perhaps I can catch you in some of our other networking sessions and things like that to chat more. All right, well, I'm grateful for your time. Thank you, everyone.
Beth, we need to show a slide here for the, oh, we have it up there. That's Connie. This is a disclaimer for the medical CEU track session. Please note, everybody, there's a sign-in form. We posted a link on the chat that in order to receive credit, you do need to go to the sign-in form and do a session evaluation for us. It's www.covacon.org/CE_evaluations. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thanks, Beth. You did a terrific job.
Thank you. Thank you, Don, and everyone for organizing this great conference for everyone. I know how hard it is behind the scenes to get it all done, but you're doing it and it's wonderful.
All right, thank you, Beth, again, and thank you everybody for attending. We'll probably close out the session here in a few seconds, but again, if you have any further questions, please put them in chat and we will get those to Beth and she can maybe contact you personally to answer any further questions.